I'll keep moving on to reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
The views and opinions expressed by the host or presenter and by participants are solely their current opinions and do not reflect the opinions of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its shareholder, or its affiliates. The opinions of the on-air guests or participants are based upon information they consider reliable, but neither ZBC nor its shareholder nor its affiliates warrant their completeness or accuracy, and they should not be relied upon as such.
I will achieve because I do the things I should. To my brethren, kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. So whatever my mind can see, that I will achieve. Because I do the things I should, to my brethren, kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Okay, my Straight Talk family, it's time for me to wish you all a very pleasant good night, a very pleasant night. Maybe you are in St. Kitts and Nevis and or throughout in Caribbean region. In the Kittian and I say greetings to all who are logged on to zizonline.com by the web. I know some of you are in Asia. There's some of you in Africa. There's some of you in, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty, I know, to say good night. I can't say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings is applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's, in the process, continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as prayers we raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of our discussion, yes, by at least promoting and employing our people to be objective, to be fair to all concerned. And it's also a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails. And if you're so minded to call, you can access the program via 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Our email address is zizstraightalk@gmail.com. And my Straight Talk family, I'm starting again tonight on a solemn note, in that quite a few people that I'm familiar with have gone to the great beyond. And I need to acknowledge that without hesitation. I want to acknowledge the passing of the mother of Dawn Heiliger Brooks, Mrs. Brooks, who has gone to the great beyond, I think, at either 93 or 94, somewhere around there. And Dawn, her daughters, her entire family, I want to extend condolences on behalf of the Straight Talk family and on my own behalf as well. I also learned of the passing of Dolly Tweed. Dolly Tweed lived there on Punt's pasture for many years. The sister of the late Bradford Tweed, Rosalind, and all the Tweed family. We extend our condolences as well as you mourn the loss of a sister and an aunt, a dear friend to many as well, Jolly. And the honeyman from around the pasture, as we call it, George Mead to be exact. I think he's the father of Nurse Cheryl Liburd, my family. Also Dr. Ione Willett Liburd, Joseph Marvin, the entire bunch. We do extend our condolences as well on behalf of the Straight Talk family and on my own behalf, and the demise of the honeyman. I heard as well of the passing of Batumba Tak. We know Batumba Tak from East Street, to be exact. Long-standing trade unionist, the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labor Union, and BTAP. He went to the Moravian Church as well, and we extend condolences to his family, Mrs. Philip and Buns Pastor and his entire family, and who are mourning the loss of this African brother. And as I look to the statistics as well as relates to our fight, our continued fight in this COVID-19 pandemic, as of today, the 27th, I am advised there are some 25 confirmed cases, bringing that total to 4,582 on St. Kitts and 811 on Nevis. And sadly, seem to be very cautious. They have some 33 deaths, 33 too many, I may add. But keep our fingers crossed as we continue to fight this Omicron variant, because the vaccination rollout continues. at 82.1%, first time, or first doses I call them, and 76.5% of second doses. And I'm due. I'm long overdue my booster shot. I don't know why I'm hesitating, but I'll get my booster shot sooner rather than later. But my Stray Dog family, tonight I want to crave your indulgence and invite us all to discuss a very contentious sometimes subject, to it: good governance, transparency, and corruption. And I want to say to you, before we even start, is not to allow yourself to become disillusioned by what I seen, or what seems to be happening in my beloved country, my beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, is that people are becoming disillusioned. We seem to be in the silly season. So people have been disillusioned by silly season antics. And with that comes insidious attempts at the personal destruction of each other. And all in an effort to garner what I call voter support. But I want us to look beyond the pieces of propaganda and stay focused, as you cannot afford bad choices going on this year and the years beyond. And in the interim, meanwhile, I want us to stay safe. Please stay safe, everyone. And recall, in my very first edition of Straight Talk for 2022, I challenge us all to ask ourselves the question, or questions: where are we as a country? Where are we as an economy? And where are we as a people? And these are some pertinent questions that deserve constructive answers, I submit. When we look around us, the raging debate continues about the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that brought the whole world to a virtual standstill. It was widespread, infectious, and killed millions of people around the world. In St. Kitts Nevis, sadly, some 33 persons have died. But instead of bringing us together as a people here in St. Kitts and Nevis, this pandemic has certainly divided us as a country. If there is a time for the country to unite, I submit it is now. A time to move beyond partisan division and move forward as one federation. We need governance and transparency if we are going to build public trust between those who govern and those who are governed. And if there are problems, then let us find solutions. Instead of complaining, let us engage each other constructively with a view towards advancing St. Kitts Nevis as a model country that others can emulate. Reflect. The Team Unity administration gave stimulus packages costing well over $120 million. Thousands, or rather $1,000 were distributed to some people who are unemployed. The $500 are still being distributed to those on the Poverty Alleviation Program, the PAP, my straight dog family. Reduce crime. And with a life first strategy, we managed to protect the livelihoods of most people. Taxi drivers, albeit the cruise ships are back, but we must look for increasing airlift. As our hotels and a hotel in work, but our hotels did on their beds. The schools have now reopened. But for 20, there need to be more openness and transparency. These are major elements of good governance. Having said that, we must highly commend the Team Unity Administration for advancing these 5 years. But our last government failed to do so in 20 long years. So the issue of integrity in public life is nothing new in St. Kitts and Nevis. As a matter of fact, it is nothing new regionally, and moreover, it is nothing new internationally. But we like to beat up on public officials, and why not? But I also ask why? Because there is corruption in the public sector and corruption in the private sector. Corruption, it is a constant obstacle to economic and social development around the world. It has negative impacts on sustainable development and particularly affects poor communities. Just last year at the United Nations, a conference was held relating to corruption, an anti-corruption conference. And this is what the President of the General Assembly, Malcolm Bosky, had to say.
In order to implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, we must end corruption.
In order for sustainable development goals, we must end corruption. That came out of the conference by Street Talk family. But corruption in the private sector as well. Because companies, corruption, business growth, it increases costs and poses serious legal and legal risks. It also raises transaction costs, impedes long-term foreign domestic investment, and distorts development priorities. Investors too, they understand that corruption can negatively impact value and pose financial, operational, and reputational risks to their investments. In the context of the public sector modernization, governance is defined as the exercise of power in the economic, political, and administrative management of the resources of any country. For several decades, there has been a growing global trend towards enacting access to information legislation. This trend has coincided with governmental efforts to achieve modernization towards openness, transparency, and accountability, as well as to encourage the participation of citizens in decision making. But good governance is almost a contentious topic. The way public institutions manage public affairs and processes is something that draws controversy and criticism. Just listen to last week of the public resources that was spent in a particular cooperation. But let me say from the onset that as one who was engaged at the highest level in the civil service, government, for many years, I fully support, or rather I am a strong proponent of upholding ethics, integrity, and accountability for good governance. The public sector plays a major role in society. In our economy, public expenditure forms a significant part of gross domestic product, GDP, and the public sector entities are substantial employers. At the United Nations, a unique vantage point is offered from which to view developments in public administrations around the globe. And when we speak about integrity in public administration, we refer to honesty or trustworthiness in the discharge of official duties, serving as an opposite antithesis to corruption or the abuse of office. When we speak of transparency, we refer to unfettered access by the public to timely and reliable information on decisions and performance in the public sector. Accountability refers to the obligation on the part of public officials to report on the usage of public funds, public resources, and answerability for failing to meet stated performance objectives. In a World Development Report, it was concluded that corruption breeds poverty. In this report of 2002, the World Bank cited evidence that higher levels of corruption are associated with low per capita income. So one of the most talked about topics currently debated on talk shows and social media in St. Kitts and Nevis is corruption. And depending on who you speak with, the views expressed vary from one person to another and or from one thing to another. On one side of the political divide, you would hear that corruption is pervasive in St. Kitts and Nevis. But on another side, transparency, good governance, and the rule of law is being advanced. And truth be told, under the former administration, the integrity in public life legislation was approved in Parliament in 2013. It took the team Unity Administration to get that piece of legislation out of what seemed to be a legislative coma. And the team Unity Administration got that piece of legislation out of the coma in 2018, when it operationalized the Integrity in Public Life Commission. And that commission held its first press conference in December last year, which coincided with the International Anti-Corruption Day. Chairperson of the Integrity in Public Life Commission, retired Justice Paulette Lance, told the nation about the composition of the commission. Here's what former Justice, I should say,
the Integrity Commission was established under Section 11 of the Integrity in Public Life Act, which entered into force in 2018. It is a 3-member commission comprising yours truly as chairperson, Mrs. Carol Boddy, public chartered accountant, and Mr. Dennis Knight, consultant and court-connected mediator. The Commission's management team comprised Mr. Albert Edwards, Director of Audit, who is the CEO, and Ms. Virginia Brown as the Office Administrator and the Secretary to the Commission. Our offices are upstairs, the Lil Walwyn and Company building on Liburd in Bastille.
So yes, the IPL has been operational. It has offices on Liverpool Road in downtown Bastille. And believe me, the Commission has the authority to do justice.
By Section 18C of the Integrity in Public Life Act, the Commission is assigned the function of conducting an investigation into any allegation of bribery or act of corruption referred to it by any person. In addition, the Commission is granted by the Act substantial powers of prevention, detection, and punishment of corruption.
It can investigate any act of bribery or corruption referred to it by anyone. Very interesting perspective, my street of family. What about the mission and the vision of the Commission?
The Commission's mission statement is to build and promote a culture of integrity and accountability without fear or favor, affection or ill will, to help build and strengthen public trust and confidence in elected officials, members of the National Assembly, ministers of government, senators, Speaker of the National Assembly, and those public officials and all other persons, statutory bodies, and state enterprises to whom the integrity in public life applies. The Commission's vision statement. Our vision is to become the leading organization in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in ensuring honesty and integrity in public officials and in establishing a society free from vice and corruption.
Free vice and corruption. And believe it or not, there is a United Nations Convention against corruption. And this Convention against corruption is the only legally binding universal, beg your pardon, anti-corruption instrument. The Convention's far-reaching approach and the mandatory character of many of its provisions makes it a unique tool for developing a comprehensive response to a global problem. And the vast majority of United Nations member states are parties to the convention.
The UN Convention Against Corruption, the first global anti-corruption agreement, paved the way for the UN Global Compact's 10th principle in 2004.
The private sector has a shared and also responsibility for eliminating.
Commits businesses to work against corruption in all its forms, including extortion and bribery.
Over the past 10 years, we have seen
signing of the UN Convention by 140 countries, leading to new anti-corruption laws and expanded enforcement around the world.
So tonight, my Street Dog family, as I go to the lines, I invite us to discuss several things. Do you think we can ever have a world under St. Kitts Nevis without corruption? I repeat that question. Do you believe that we can ever have a world under St. Kitts Nevis without corruption? Can we ever establish a society free of corruption? Can we ever ensure honesty and integrity in public officials? These questions I pose tonight. Let us have a discussion. Let us find solutions to this perceived corruption world over, and more so in our St. Kitts and Nevis. I repeat those questions. Do you think we can have a world and a St. Kitts Nevis without corruption? Can we ever establish a society free from corruption? Can we ever ensure honesty and integrity in public officials? And what about the private sector? Should we focus as well on the private sector? It's 26 before the 9 o'clock hour. I'll entertain your calls and your emails. I would always like to implore you, though, that let us respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to our concern. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and or doing those things, let us, my straight up family, strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I'm going to open the lines and entertain your calls and entertain your emails. I go to the lines, caller, say good night.
Good evening, Patches. Hope all is well.
Everything is peaceful. Yourself?
Good, good. I just want to wish you a belated happy birthday, buddy. And January people tend to be very intelligent people, so I figured all along that you were January, man. Anyhow, corruption could be done away with. People got to understand, corruption destroys a country. It destroys a people. And it could be done away with if they start cutting out the corrupt people's hand. Cut off their hand. And you will see how fast the corruption go away. Now, this corruption panel, this thing, you seldom hear about it. We need it out in the open. Okay, we need it out in the open. No, we have to. Okay? Think it wasn't corrupt before. Nowhere near the way it is today. And they're getting away with it. You all can't go in there and talking about in Parliament every day, the corruption. That is why you were elected. You were elected to do away with all this nonsense. This thing of chasing the little warring. I never know nothing about it. And when the man destroyed my life, I went to the PP and they give me all kind of story. Okay? Since it has become very, very, very corrupt. You're going to have to deal with it, okay? No. Just to digress a little, I see that your neighbor Antigua cannot vote at the United Nations. At least Dr. Harris, know how to pay the bills. Antigua can't pay its bills, so they cannot vote. They took away the vote from the United Nations. Now, Patrick, I want to just say a few little things, and then I will get back to the main subject. I want to talk about the family, and I'm going to try to move it quickly. The family seems to be destroyed, okay? The family is St. Kitts and Nevis, I guess, have been destroyed, okay? You go down 4th Street, your main thoroughfare. You go down there anytime from 8 o'clock in the morning, all the mentally sick people, homeless people on that street. There is that new wing you ordered, that new annex for the courthouse. And past a man in the morning, 11 o'clock, sleeping on the door, up in the door in that new annex by the courthouse, the new annex for the courthouse. What's going on? And not only that, there's a kid. He sucks his finger. And he's there sitting in front of Cindy's store in the morning from 8 o'clock, 7:30, sucking his finger. He used to go into people's house. My aunt was there, and he would walk in the house and then go into other people's house. No, the family they have let go of their family. I was down there by the Chinese restaurant sometime, and I see this guy shopping along. He's retarded. I did, and a guy said to me, the guy, he said, that guy, Victor Williams' brother, that boy there, the retarded boy, that Victorian boy. He said he going on by the bus station, that beautiful bus station. He said he going on there to drink himself now. Crazy. He said this boy is retired and he's walking around, so he have nobody who look out for him. Not only that, I understand that the population doctor have.
Okay, let's focus on the topic.
Please, because you don't have people on. No, I want to thank you for saving our democracy because other times people couldn't talk. There's no freedom of speech. Okay? Bacchus was locking up. This was locking. And you tell us, as long as you don't defame anybody, you're allowed to speak. And you gave us back our freedom. You gave us back our dignity. You understand? And let me tell you about Dr. Harris. The man is a game changer. If it wasn't for Harris, let me tell you something. We would have been another Haiti today. Dr. Harris, but he needs to push that thing, all the other stuff. No, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have an extra CCM seat in Nevis. And you'd have one seat, maybe two PAM seat in Sinkis. Well, Douglas used to have his foot on the neck. He used to say, PAM. And they were scared of him. The PAM wouldn't talk up. It's when Dr. Harris came into thing, he changed everything, Patches. So the family members must need to look out for their family. People are all on the street. You all have to do something. The man with the new annex, the man flat out, sprawl out in front of the new annex, right above the main courthouse. What's going on? The guys got to do better than this. Okay? Is there no ban in Gilead? Come on. This is thing the family have abandoned their family. No. Finally, I'd like to address two issues that I got into my mailbox this week. One of them was some Trinidadian man.
My brother. But you take us clear off this topic tonight.
Patrick, no, but sometimes this man, your friend, he's not there. He said you could only have one topic. You didn't have one topic. But anyway, I'm running it down.
Yeah.
I would like to finally address two issues that came to my mailbox from the Labour boiler room. One of them was some Trinidadian singing a song on Dr. Harris. They must have played that man. And number two, there was a commentary coming from Dwyer of all people about Mr. Richards. These things have to be resolved, okay? It must be resolved. We have to get things together. But Dr. Harris is saying we think it, but we need to get this thing. It needs to go. We need to have, and you need to think on corruption. A lot of barefaced corruption took place under the Douglas mafia labor, and you all have done nothing about it. I don't want to hear it in pattern. I want to see it done. So corruption has to be dealt with in Sinkage, okay? And you guys have to deal with it. Otherwise, Sinkage is finished with. Passion, have a good evening.
Have a good evening, my brother. Let me implore my cause to keep an eye on the time you make your questions. And yes, I know at times we owe you to digress slightly, but please don't extend it so much. I entertain your cause. I like your input, but can you ever establish, can we ever a society free of corruption? Can we ensure honesty and integrity in public officials? We can have a world and a St. Kitts Nevis without corruption. That's what we're discussing tonight. I go back to the lines. Thank you. You are live. Yes, caller.
Hello. Good night, Patches.
Good night, my dear.
Yes. Corruption will never done until Jehovah sent his son to this earth again. It will never done. I grew up with my grandmother. I always ask my grandmother, Granny, why you don't vote? She said, Helen, you get in, you do for yourself, your family, and your dear friends. If I get in, I will do for my family, my friends, and my dear friends. And I'm not on the ballot, so that's why I don't vote. And I go with my grandmother all the time for the years. I did not vote till when I was about 28. 28. That was in the 80s when Pam get in. I did not vote till the time, and I voted for Pam. From 85, I went to the Virgin Islands, and from that I didn't vote again until 2015. So, you know, I just know that I grew up knowing that corruption will be always in. Whoever gets in, my grandmother always say, is their best friend, their family, and themselves. So I don't worry my head about what's going on with. I will vote yes if I feel the person is a good person. I will vote if I feel the person is a good person, but otherwise than that, I know I'm not looking for nothing, because I always say, I ask because the Bible tells me, ask and it shall be given. And if I ask and it's not given to me, then I won't bother my head. I just go on, keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. I hear something they call about commentary with Astafan. I couldn't believe what Astafan was saying. You hear me? I couldn't believe. But anyway, as I know, as I tell you, my grandmother told me that from ever since, and she dead and gone, and she dead when she was 98. So I know that corruption, you will never find corruption, a fair place on earth until Jehovah sent his son. So have a good night, enjoy your night, and I first your man, I don't got my booster last week. So I hope you go for yours. I hope you go for yours. Thank you, bye.
Yes, thank you. I'm going for my booster the next couple of days. Corruption never ever done. Do you agree? Do you agree, caller? You're live.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Liburd. I know you're good because I'm listening to you. Now let me go here right into your topic. I agree with the first caller. The corruption will never go, and I agree with the lady too. The corruption could slow down if you chop off the hand. Do like Singapore. Singapore is standing for no stupidness. In Singapore, if you are seen in the public by a police officer chewing gum, that's a fine for you. Just to chew. When you thief, they chop off one your hand. And if you continue, they go on the other side of your body and they chop off a leg. And until they start to punish people severely for those for when they corrupt, do them some severe punishment, you ain't gonna stop. Corruption in St. Kitts Nevis is like white paint dropped in a glass of milk. You can't take out white paint out of a glass of milk because all of them white. So therefore you have to throw away the whole milk. So when you find them being corrupted, chop off the hand and punish them severely. Like the lady said, the political prostitute, Dwyer, leave from St. Kitts and go on to Antigua. Go like you poop. And the Prime Minister have to tell him, stay down in the St. Kitts with your poop, man. Don't bring it up here. He believes he's the most commentator about integrity all over the place. And he himself, let tell people about the La Valley Golf Course down the one golf player. I wonder if La Valley Golf Course, I wonder if that day is perfect. I wonder if everything was done like it was planned. I stopped because of corruption. Let talk about down there. Now, Patches, let me just make a little digress. There are a lot of people in government, department, and institutions. Man, M-A-N, man. A lot of them are disrespecting women on the job. And when I say disrespecting them, I mean what you call sexually assaulting women verbally. And some of them touching women. And if the woman like it, they advance. Some of them taking out the private and showing them and telling them what they want to do with them. And I am calling on the DPP and the Attorney General and the Minister of National Security and all of them and the Commissioner of Police, the Commissioner, come out and put down your foot on these things here. It's happening all over the place with all kind of people working in different departments for government. And that is wrong and bad.
Okay.
It is bad, man.
Got you, my brother.
I'm coming back with my second later, you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, if you just join us, we are looking at good governance, transparency, and we are zooming in on corruption. And as someone put it there, that lady caller, it sounds like family from South Carolina said, do for yourself and your family and your friends. That means using your public office for private gain. And I'm asking the question, it seems that we're getting a no. Can we ever ensure honesty and integrity in our public officials? Can we ever establish a society free from corruption? Do you think we can have a world and a St. Kitts Nevis without corruption? In terms of punishment, the chairperson of the Integrity in Public Life Commission, Justice or former Justice Pauletta Lance, said this about the Commission's power.
18C of the Integrity in Public Life Act. The Commission is assigned the function of conducting an investigation into any allegation of bribery or act of corruption referred to it by any person. In addition, the Commission is granted by the Act substantial powers of prevention, detection, and punishment of corruption.
Prevention, detection, and punishment of corruption. Those are the powers of the Commission. Can we ever get rid of it? We go back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your line.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Oh, it's good to hear your voice tonight. Happy New Year.
Same to you, my brother. Same to you.
Listen this.
You still have that?
Happy birthday
Still have
to
that
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Straight Talk. Happy birthday to you. Mr. Straight Talk.
Thank you.
They're not good corruption. I call it dirty politics. Understand? And dirty politics didn't start it by us. Understand? It started with Judas. Corrupt. Judas was corrupt. And he had to do what he had to do because without him, nothing was going to be done. So when we are talking about corruption, the whole entire world, man himself corrupt. And you can't clean up man, like that sister says. Man have to clean himself with God, not by himself. So if God don't clean him, he can't clean. Man is as dirty as you can be, because that's who he is. Just let me show you something. I didn't have a quarter today to go into the supermarket. But when I look, I find a cart with a quarter, so I go and I take it. Usually at times when I do that, I left back the cart that somebody else can get the benefit. You know what I did do? I take the quarter out and just walk away. When I should have done the same thing, left it back for somebody. You see what I'm saying? So corruption didn't start by we, and we can't end what didn't start. But we can do as much as we can to get a handle of it, because it's in all of us dirty hearts. So, Mr. Strater, I want you to take care of yourself. I'm walking around coming to see you. So soon and very soon we're going to see I'll come to someone. So be good, take care of yourself, and I'll see you when I see you.
See you when I see you, my brother. Thanks a lot. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Mr. Ian Patches Liburd.
How are you?
Good night, sir. Good night, sir. And
good night, my lord.
Good night, Mr. Ian Patches Liburd.
How are you? That voice sounds familiar from down west.
Down west, right.
Got you.
Mr. Liburd, you're supposed to be a religious person. And the question you ask is such a sensible question. But the people who like to talk about how much corruption exists, they know better, but they hide in a corner and project a certain image, like the innocence. But as long as you have activities in which mankind is involved, you're going to always have all sorts of things happening. Because the Bible said that, no man, I was going to say it another way, but since see when I see you mention something, I go around another way. The Bible said that the heart of man is desperately wicked. So if you got wicked people, all sorts of things can happen. And this thing can only come to an end when Christ returns. Because look how close Christ was, Judas was to Christ. He actually kissed Christ. Christ kissed all the disciples because that was a tradition in the culture. And see, he washed the feet after the Last Supper. And to show you, see how close, and then another disciple deny him, and all of that. But then, okay, it was part of God's plan to show you how don't care what life you live and whatever, you could get forgiveness, etc., etc. Except one thing though, you can't get forgiveness for one thing, that is for blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, according to Matthew 25. So I ain't gonna prolong no more, but just to say, the people who know better, they know that they are laws now, and if they're able to pinpoint anything, they know where to take the issues to. So instead of beat around every Friday, and many other time, I don't know how somebody is got hug man is doing it, and God is everything Timothy, everything Lindsey Grant, and so forth. To me, a lot of it is jealousy, but Mr. Liburd, keep your head on. And I think you're doing a very good job informing the general public. So I don't know if I wish you Happy New Year when I started, but if not, Happy New Year. It's not too late. So,
Same to you, my brother.
You take good care of yourself, and my thoughts are with you always. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, my brother. And be good to yourself. Be safe as well. We're discussing, what am I saying, this issue of corruption. Can we ever establish a society free from corruption? Caller, thank you for holding your line.
Good evening, Honorable Patrick Liburd.
Good evening.
First, I want to congratulate the Prime Minister Antigua to put the male prostitute in his place, political prostitute, for interference. Patrick, when we talk about corruption, I don't think that we understand the meaning of corruption, because when a man go and he come to you and he beg a vote, he begging you a vote, and you go there now and you sympathize and you vote for him, and when he get into government office, he put his friends and them to control who can get one vote for him. And from there, they misuse government. But corruption will only stop when you have Public Service Commission. You understand me? Public Service Commission, that people can run. You have a certain set of people appointed Public Service Commission. Now, the telephone company, if you owe them and you figure you're being taken advantage of, you can go to a Public Service Commission. they work it out and they say how much you up and how much you're not up. The same thing with the electric light. The same thing, they're supposed to got an ambushman. But if you walk in, you can't go to the ambushman. Because they're going to tell you you're walking the ambushman for poor people. And when the poor people go to the ambushman, they do nothing to help the poor people. You understand me? Those are corruption. Those are the things that drive people to things. And when these people do things, who in authority, power and authority, they don't give a damn about nobody, and you're allowed to get the scot-free. No, nobody put them in front of a judge and a jury and try them. But when a poor man misuse government funds, by getting an extra check or something, they want to climb to jail for that. You know, those are the things what are corruption. Now, Patrick, let me explain something to you. Now, I see a lot of people criticizing the Prime Minister, right? And saying this about the Prime Minister. When they went to him, you know, if they never want him to be Prime Minister, when they should have left the man alone. Let him run all his slate and do what he wants to do with his cabinet. But now they went to him and they beg for opportunity and they beg for a chance. Here's come, if they said 2 terms, the man, the 2 terms ain't far from over. And what you harassing the man for? But you ain't want him for another term, another 3 term and all that. Who tell you the man want to have another 3 term? You understand me? That is what they do to the Federation. When the Federation started, all of them come and they beg for the Federation. When they get the help from the Canadian government and the British government and the United States and so on, they turn around and they mash up the Federation. And yes, come, we had a unity party. What if everybody in St. Kitts were glad for and still glad for, but some of them trying to break it up. You know, man, Jesus Christ, where the conscience is? Where are the conscience? You understand me? But maybe they think that the people tie out by the poll station, them, you know, that they must vote for them. But things are changing. Things can change. You understand me? And I hope the Prime Minister get the act together and run his cabinet. Good night, Patrick, and God bless you. And bless my Prime Minister. Thank you.
God bless you as well, my brother. We're still focusing on the corruption. And the United Nations offers a unique vantage point from which to view developments in public administrations around the globe. And we speak about integrity in public administration. We refer to honesty or trustworthiness in the discharge of official duties, serving as the opposite to corruption or the abuse of office. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your line.
Good evening, Ambassador Liburd. Good evening, Ambassador Liburd.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, this is a very timely topic you picked this evening on corruption, and we have a very, very serious problem here in these small islands that we have what is I call political blind allegiance or blind faith. We tend, because we support a party, to make the party's leaders demigods. We don't want to question them. We don't want to criticize them. We just let them run rampant, and you say, you know, the other administration used to do it, so is we turn now. And when people criticize, we tend to say, oh, they're talking because they ain't get what they want. But the reverse can also be true. Maybe some people get so much right now that they ain't talking. The tongue sticks to the roof of their mouth. It could be that easily said. It's like a boomerang. We have to really take things into consideration, because if you blindly follow a party or a leader, you will not want to criticize them when they're doing wrong. Perfect example, Dr. Denzel Douglas. If more Labour supporters used to call him out when he's doing nonsense, he probably might still be in power, but he let his arrogance and his hubris get to his head. And people used to pump him up when they had emotion and confidence. The boss Doug is smarter than them, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And we see what happened to him. Let's not let our leaders go down that road. Because all of a sudden now, I've been hearing callers bigging up Gaston Brown. All of a sudden, let's remember Gaston Brown used to have a minister come in here all the time by the name of Asad Michael, who was Dr. Douglas' buddy pal, and they used to go all over the world together. We will forget that. So how Gaston Brown would know, and he wasn't good before. A lot of us used to fight to call in Andoy Astafan show when he used to be on Douglas' back. All of a sudden now, he's the worst. I mean, politics makes strange bedfellows. That's a true term. Also, we're talking about corruption and integrity. If we're going to come from that perspective, from that stance, we should be able to have a clean slate. And I find it kind of hypocritical for us to be talking about corruption and not dealing with corruption when we have the issue with Minister Lindsey Grant not being addressed. I mean, I vote for unity. I voted for a change. And this is not looking good strategically, politically, strategically. This needs to be addressed. If we cannot criticize our leaders or at least make some sort of input into what is going on, why call it a democracy? Maybe a theocracy or a fiefdom or something like that, a banana republic. Nothing is wrong with criticizing your leadership. You're not calling down the country if you see something going wrong, and you're doing it out of concern, not out of malice, or having a bad faith argument, or just making, specious accusations. If something is not seeming right to you as a supporter, even if you're not a supporter, you still have a right to say something, because all of us have to live here in the Federation. Somebody speaking out does not mean they're bringing down the government, they're against the Prime Minister, or whatever you want to say. Sometimes if a leader is going wrong and you don't say nothing, they feel like they're in the right. As I said for you, look at the example of Dr. Douglas. That was always my criticism of Labour supporters. They never used to call him out. And we seem to be following that trend, this cultish mentality. The leader cannot be wrong. His people under him cannot be wrong. We want to justify everything away and say, oh, well, that happened before. Well, we voted for a change. Dr. Douglas is out of power and he's out of the leadership. And if he could have lost, I mean, back in 2015, Unity had the momentum, but I was saying we probably would have get a good haul of seats. But Douglas would go, he had the war chest. He had the war chest. And he lose because, who mash him up? The silent majority who ain't going to come on the radio, going to say nothing. They're going to just act with the vote and do what they got to do. And we need to be cognitive of that fact and not just rubber stamp everything that goes on. We have to call a spade, because in the long run, the consequences might not what we expect. Okay, Ambassador Labour.
Can I ask you a question, caller?
Sure, go ahead.
Are you saying that because of what you call political blindness, we will never establish a society free of corruption?
Correct, because when our person who we deem as the leader, who we like, is in power, We do not want to question anything they do. We feel like this is our time now. The farmer, whoever was there before, they was not held accountable, so why should we hold our leaders accountable? And that seems to be going on. We don't want to, we see certain things that we don't sit right with us, and we just, explain it away, the man of the farm administration and, the labor supporters never used to say nothing, so let me just, be mum and, roll with the punches. That's just my opinion.
Thank you very much.
I could be wrong, but I was around when Dr. Douglas was in power, and that was the biggest criticism I had for Labour supporters. They never, ever called him out, and those who called him out, the same thing happened to them. Because that Dougie, they ain't they were from Dougie. They're talking against Dougie. Look at Dr. Assegai. Dr. Assegai basically died in exile because he dared to challenge the maximum leader. He never see homeland again. And I don't want. I don't want us to go down that road. We just need to call a spade a spade. That doesn't mean you hate the prime minister or whatever, but you have to hold them accountable because, as I said, we had the perfect example with the previous administration.
Got you, my brother. Thanks for your intervention. Sound opinion, sound rational, I should say. As we go back to the lines at 10 past the 9 o'clock hour, caller, you're live.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
It's birthday, your animal birthday. And I want to know from you, because you saying about corruption. For me, I don't know corruption. I want a loan from you, so no corruption. And when you go in the bank and you try to take a loan from the bank, and you can't pay the bank comes for everything. So you still not end up with nothing. So you are telling people, go back, go get a loan. Go back, go get a loan, go pay for your house. And when you go in the car, pay back the bank, already return. For me, go in the bank, I want out of your bank. And you have a blessed night, and you take care. When you come Westbury today, if I walk on the pool. Yes, to see you.
Yes. That's my neighbor friend, Cinda. She wants a loan from my bank. Imagine that. Caller, you're live at 11 past 9.
Patches, good night, Patches.
Good night, my warrior from the east.
Happy New Year. Me just can't listen here. Not to count some of them people there, He need to join with other than say Gaston going right. They need to keep out the people politics. If Gaston going the bad, then he's still bad. He need to join with others. I don't know whether they become talking or people criticizing this and criticizing that. Whoever in saying it about Gaston going the good. If he bad, then he bad. He's still bad. I don't know wrong with some of these people you hear in the patches. I don't take on them, because them don't yet talk to people say, I hear you last night, and I hear you say this, and I hear it. Not study them there. They need to drink water and keep out of politics because they don't know what they're saying. And some of them, they just want people to, I hear you and you sound good and all that kind of thing. Keep out of people politics. What he do is wrong. What the hell he gone up in Antigua go get into business for? That is, this is for today and Happy New Year and good night to everybody. They need to drink water and keep out of politics. They're too one-sided and crooked. They want to say, I don't hear here no way. They're saying, I'm talking now, because when this gets in, and nobody going to say, we're talking. Drink water and hush your mouth. You're too one-sided. Who for you, and who for you can be against you. Corruption will never done. Never, ever. Corruption, poverty, them things will never done. Drink water and keep out of politics if I can't take it. That is good night, and good night, Prime Minister, and good night to your cabinet, and I wish everybody well. Bye, Francis.
Thank you. Bye, my warrior from the east. Corruption will never done, she said. Good governance is almost always a contentious topic. The way public institutions are managed, or way they manage public affairs and public resources, is something that draws controversy and criticism. The general view is that corruption will never done. Is that correct, caller? You're live.
Yeah, good night, namesake. Yes, good night, namesake.
Namesake, good night.
Yes, I'm happy to be in again tonight. Now, Patches, I spoke to you on Monday night concerning the train bus terminal. And we're still waiting for the presence of a police to be here from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Because it's not right for we to here we who are abiding by the law to be here in the terminal and buses coming waiting for the terminal and picking up passengers and we are here. You understand? Buses are here waiting to get a trip. Some of us might get 1 trip or 2 trips for the afternoon, and buses who don't make 4 and 5 trips back and forth from down the bay come up, still coming up here and picking up passengers waiting for the terminal while we are here in the terminal waiting for passengers. This thing must be rectified now, or we don't have a problem in sinking. Because we need to eat, we got bills to pay, we got bus to pay for, we got insurance, license, and you name it. So we got to get it do proper, otherwise it's going to create a problem. So until some respect, nobody talk to you. So I'm saying, Patrice, is that until we get a police presence up here, from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock in the evening, because that's where we pay tax dollars. So they're supposed to give us representation for our money. Am I right? So these are the things that we are looking for. And I want to say to you, the country is running good. I hear a song today. And first time I hear it is today. And ZIZ. Country is running good and something. But whatever it is, it sounds good. And I hope that the people are thinking, wake up and realize that they have a government who is controlling the shipper state and running the shipper state in a proper manner. Because we can't afford for any prime minister to take us back to the IMF, that we can tax us from the cradle to the grave. Thinking people don't have card, we don't pay VAT. But because of recklessness or the kind of money we passed to the government before, which is the former Prime Minister hand, Sinkits and Nevis should have never been paying VAT. But because we got people who doesn't know how to manage, run the country in debt. And when you talk about running a country in debt, leaving the country with $2 million, but then you're going to tell us that you have $2 million, $9 million in the treasury. I mean, something that is wrong with our people. If we don't understand dollars and cents, we're going to end up in problems. So, Patrice, I want to say to you, you are doing a good job. Continue to do what you're doing. And my Prime Minister is doing a good job. He's running the shipper state proper. And that's why somebody make up this song and say, the country is running good. Have a good night. May God bless you as you continue to do whatever you do for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless you. Have a good one.
God bless you. My name's sake. Yes. In the event you've just joined us, the country is running good, you said. And under the former administration, the Integrity in Public Life legislation was approved in Parliament in 2013. It went into a coma, and it took the Team Unity administration to get that legislation out of what seemed to be a legislative coma in 2018, when it operationalized the IPL Commission, which held its first press conference in December last year on the International Corruption Day. The view seemed to be, we'll never get rid of corruption. Caller, are you live? Are you live? You're live. You're live. Yes, caller. Yes, caller. Call you live. Call you live. Are you there, caller?
Good night to Patrick. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Politics. How are you?
Oh, Patrick, I'm here. Just listening, hanging in and listening. talking about corruption and all kind of thing, eh? Corruption will be always there. Patches. Corruption will be always, even if you elect all Christians, whether in government or any organization, you will find corruption. No man is perfect, and we live in a sinful world that man do what they got to do, and if we don't follow Bible guidelines and instruction, we will just wait, paid. Now, Patches, when I go on social media and listen to the panic factory and all those things in the Federation, I see them targeting the Prime Minister. I listen to Calypso on Facebook with a Calypso from Trinidad named Katie. It look like what they do. They take out some of the words because computer could do anything now, Technology could do anything now. And singing about corrupt, the Prime Minister corrupt, Timothy Harris corrupt and all those kind of things. But I want to tell them, right, that God still alive and awake. And if Timothy Harris was a corrupt man, I do not know who the corrupt before. Because all who criticize and talking about corruption, people like the Rastafan and others, you understand? Them are the real root of corruption, as far as I'm concerned. Because that Valley project down there, up to now, he can't come and give a good explanation about the Valley project. And he was a minister, and he was in charge. So who he could call corruption? So the Rastafan just want to keep up with Dr. Harris back. The man is a God-blessed man. And God gonna bless him 45 years out. When the next election call, the people will decide what they want in this country again. You mock up and anybody else. Because as far as I'm concerned, you don't like thinking people. And anybody listen to you. Don't criticize Dr. Douglas. Can't think about Dr. Douglas. And turn to Dr. Harris now. Brother, you don't like criticism people. You don't see color. As far as I'm concerned, you don't like criticism people. As far as I'm concerned, Denzel Douglas can bring it down to the knees. Can call you out kind of wherever, ever. I don't want to call it because Patrick's not going to like it. You understand? And if you never come up, and you were so good, at your age, you ever sit down and have a good pension. Sit down and have a good pension. And stop trying to bring down the country and bring down the government. Nobody study you, see. Patrick, before go, I just want to say that Jesus is live and well. And he's looking over this federation of Nevis. And if he's never looking over this federation of Nevis, I do not think our God-fearing Prime Minister, when we put there, in 2015, with the leadership, the hem of the leadership, I don't even will get you financially and economically out of this COVID situation. Because you hear many countries, people are there bawling, crying. Some people here they're working from since March, from since 2020 March. But they're still finding food to eat. They're still buying clothes, they still look good. They're starving, the children are starving. And this is how so bless our God bless Prime Minister he put there. Right? God gave me knowledge and the wisdom to look over the face of this nation, and he's doing it well. When the time is ready up, God will know what to do and put somebody else there. So Patrice, you're wonderful. May God bless the Federation of St. Nevis. May God bless, God bless, God bless. All right, Patrice.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And in the event you're perhaps pondering what politics is talking about, and he's asking if this.
But let me have to say, I'm not saying it didn't happen.
He called it bubble. Some people call it corruption. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're alive. I want to thank you for holding. Yes, caller. Are you there, caller? Caller, turn your equipment or your radio down.
Mr. Patrick, good night.
Good night, the Bible man.
Here,
What's on your mind?
I am going to read from Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. The heart is deceitful and desperate wicked. Who can know it by God? That is, God knows everybody. Hello, Patrick.
Yes, John. Yes, John. You're live.
And so, when people believe to themselves, it's God who rules this whole universe, Mr. Patrick. And no care what nobody do. But it's in Esther, when Haman went and pay off the king, to kill Malachi and kill the Jews. Let us read Esther. And what happened in the Bible now? What happened now? When people got a case at the court, they are gone to pay the authorities. So what happened now? When you're honest and I got a good heart and I got a God-fearing heart, you would not do corruption. Hey, man. I'm going to finish now. What happened in 20 long years? No, all who talk now, President Hill, to criticize the government. They never said nothing. Some people never said nothing. And when all the corruption is going on, nobody said nothing, Mr. Badges. But now, they want to see if the government go in the toilet. They want to know what the government got in the toilet never. And so, one thing I have to tell, this is the last thing I'm going to say. Let me tell you something. Nobody knows what's going to happen in 2025. It is God know it. So all whatever rant and rage, I got the Lord say. In Psalm said, promotion neither come from the east, the west, the north, and the south. I find the Bible, man. Promotion come from the Lord. He set up and he pulled down. Kings
when king do what is wrong in the sight of God, God deal with them. Saul, slip up. God told Samuel to tell Saul, I will reject Saul to be king over Israel. When you see David, he wasn't aware, but God said and tell Samuel to bring David. And so, the situation is it. Mr. Harris is a little David. Because God had to reject the former prime minister. Because with me, I pray, I will tell you, I pray, put Mr. Harris in office. If nobody understand, it is God really moving in this country. And people must remember that God have the last say. Mr. Patrick, have a pleasant night and see you right no more.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bibleman. It's 8 or 9:30, what am I saying? If you have just joined us,
hello.
We are looking at this contentious topic of issue. We asked the question, can we ever expect or establish a society free of corruption? Can we ever ensure honesty and integrity in public officials? Do you think we can have a world at the St. Kitts Nevis without corruption? I've been getting your views, and most of you say never. What do you say, caller? Thank you for holding.
Good night to you, Ambassador.
Yes, caller. Good night, sir.
And I say Happy New Year to you, my friend and brother. I wish you a happy belated birthday. I was unable to have called you on Monday to wish you, but I did in fact send in a message.
Thank you very much, my brother. I've heard his voice in a long time.
Exactly, and I want you to know that I have not abandoned you. I've still been listening.
Thank you. Thank you. How is Jamaica?
Things are good. I'm actually in the Federation, but things are good back home.
Oh, in the Federation? Okay.
But things are good based upon what I'm gathering. We are, they're trying to, the protocols are changing. The government has decided that they're now going, we all have to live with COVID, and they're just trying to boost vaccination there. But your topic that you have laid out, I find quite interesting, and I've listened to the myriad of views, and I particularly want to just add my little input. From the School of Ethics, while I was attending college, we had to, every student who goes to the university has to do philosophy, yes? And the question that was asked was whether or not you looked at virtue ethics versus duty ethics. And to be honest, I believe that to say that we can have a society that is free of corruption is almost a utopic view. Yeah? But we can have a society in which there are measures in place that deal with and remedy corruption should it arise. And I would say that leads to kind of get your view to see what you think about that.
Well, man are the only person that walks up the earth that's infallible is Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
So I understand what you're saying. But measures are put in place, but there must be police.
Right. But you see, I also want to look at the fact that I listened to you earlier on, and your government has started, and the Team Unity Administration did something that was never done for a long, long time, which is to look at accountability in public life, which is the commission that you played earlier on, looking at the role of the former retired justice and the role that they do. Those are measures that are aimed at bringing a society to a more corruption-free society, if I should use that term. Yeah. So it is really I must commend the administration for doing that, because it's a step in the right direction. Yeah? And those are things that progressive societies do. The mighty United States and other countries still have issues with corruption. Funny enough, in St. Kitts, you do not have big lobbyists who approach the government, and similarly in the Caribbean. But in the United States, the power of the lobbyists is well known. Yeah, and so the truth be told is I believe that there are attempts in St. Kitts, based upon what I have seen, to put measures in place to ensure that you remedy and deal with corruption as the commission set up to deal with the deterrent and also prevention and also prosecution if necessary.
You are correct. You are correct. At least it's a step in the right direction. And Team Unity did bring some life to that legislative coma I referred to earlier, when the former administration passed the legislation in 2013 under pressure, no doubt, with a motion of no confidence faces, but never operationalized legislation. He has done that.
And not to sidetrack anyway, because I want to stay on topic, but I also want to commend your government, Sir Patrick Liburd, for some very good initiatives I'm seeing. A lot of people might not realize that throughout the Caribbean, many of the Caribbean states, including Jamaica, matter of fact, is having a serious difficulty during this COVID. There are public sector workers, for example, the nurses who in last December were unable to receive salaries. The salaries came late while St. Kitts was rejoicing over a double salary. The nurses in Jamaica were receiving salaries late. Yeah? And so when corruption is reduced, it allows for the spending of government to increase. It allows for government to do more social services, such as the poverty alleviation program, and which is what they commonly call here the $500, which I hear a lot of people speak very good about. So the truth be told is, once a society is going in the right direction in terms of corruption, it gives the government a chance to spend more on social services, more on capital projects, because the money is not being siphoned off to some countries in the Middle East or to a place called Gatwick. So, I must commend the actions of the government, and in fact the Prime Minister that leads the cabinet.
Thank you very much. Well said. And
You
good
have
to
a
hear you.
good one, my brother.
Thank you. Have a good one. You said be safe, my
You as well.
brother.
You as well.
Could you imagine that? In Jamaica, while nurses were receiving their salaries late, in St. Kitts Nevis, the nurses were receiving a double salary. It's 23 before 10 o'clock. We go straight back to lines. Caller, you're live.
The Patrick, Bacon, talking about corruption. When you go up on different radio talk show about corruption and talk about your commentary, maybe all the atmosphere in tongue, look at hazard in tongue, what running up and down all over here. Maybe them they come by corruption. So you can't do not for them. Because when a man calls the cause, you understand? And people like Licky Boy, who up on the radio, praise up peace. I do not think none of them love petition. None of them love things with people. None of them love petition. They got this and they got that. What did they do for petition? What did they do for petition? We had the country in lockdown. And as much money as they said and much this they got. What did they come from where the criticize them doing nothing to help the ordinary people them? Just come in and criticize people. So I want to make any sense of the petition. Any petition who love the country. To listen to Astafan and Liburd them talk about they're going to bring down this unity government. Bring down this unity government. Not them. They love nobody but themselves. And love what they got. Maybe I come and talk about you preaching and talk about anything. They love nobody patches. And patches, let me tell you, we got a good country now. Because when I talk to visitors come here, and they tell me how nice things it be, think it Nevis be, patches doesn't feel proud. I don't feel like to jump on a plane anywhere else. I don't feel like to jump on a plane anywhere else, patches. When people come here, never live here, just visiting here, and see how nice our country be. Especially under this unity government. So much things has done in the few years that is in government. I want to know if it is just greed and corruption and all the things that is guys talking out of the money, want to mislead people and deceive people about the wrong things. And those in the diaspora over there, some of them tuning in and listening to them. I think you know, Patrick, you go find some of these government in this government business place. When you go in, you hear the panic factory in that place. That's why I said that they got to look into them serious, because a lot of them in position do support the government and they'll contaminate and do anything to victimize people and do all kind of things just to bring down the government. They're doing well. But I don't tell them, anybody who don't want unity in this country, we're not going back to labor. We ain't going back to labor patches. And if one individual party go in this country, it got to be the party that make culture and others support and strong back it up in this country. Because we're not blind and stupid, we're foolish. We see the good. We see the ordinary people looking help, getting help. It's for the COVID. Look at the project house of the building now. Look at the project house, this unity government building. A house with a wall roof. Your grandchildren, your grandchildren could go upstairs. What people want in this country? Because they could jump on radio talk and they could chat and they got the money to go on radio and set up and nonsense. What is the gone again?
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Sometimes you hear this social commentator and political activist, and you ask yourself, is this a man versus himself? Because his own values and his memories of his past self as a minister of government for 13 years collides with his current self. That's what I call a man versus himself. Caller, you are live. It's 18 before 10. Have a good night, my dear sister. Let's go back to the lines at 17 before 10. Call your line.
Yes, man, this is my little piece more again. When you're talking about corruption and good governance, one time on the campaign trail, He said he went in a house and he see about 50 passports in the house, in a bedroom, and a bed. New passport. How could one person get about the 50 passport in there? What that was? What was done about that? Nothing. Those passports there was for people who ain't live here, who come in here to vote, to put the government in power, to keep the government in power. Was that honesty or corruption? Let us talk about that. And let talk about the things what he doing. He going on radio platform, go cost the Prime Minister and the government. How they corrupt and this and that and integrity they don't have. But let me tell the people why you asking the Prime Minister for half year behind the back. Why you don't talk about that? You don't kill a man in the morning and then in the night time now you gonna go crucify him more and still begging him. All them is corruption. Them is foolishness you're talking about. So when people hear them on the radio station that was built up out of sugar workers' money, sugar workers' blood and sweat money, I ain't surprised. Because what come cheap, gonna end cheap. What start wrong, gonna end wrong. Good night, my good friend in Antigua, Gaston Brown. I don't know nothing about you and Asif Michael. I know about you when you were standing up all your clock when you win. And I still know about you. Thank you for opening him out and put him in the place. And who don't like it, bump it. If the cat fit you, draw the string, puff it and wait. Good night, Patches. Have a pleasant night.
Have a wonderful night, my dear brother. We asked you some questions tonight after presenting a position. Can we establish a society free from corruption? Can we ever ensure honesty and integrity in public officials? You think we can have a world under St. Kitts Nevis without corruption? My brother from Arna Yard said, no, that seems to be an ideally perfect place. According to him, that's a utopic view. Let's go back to the lines at 14 before the 10 o'clock hour. Caller, thank you for holding your line.
Patches,
Yes, my dear.
This donkey woman again. Patches, he has some people say they vote for unity. And sometimes I don't want to know if they vote for unity from the heart. They're going to look a bunch of bunny rabbits. They're just jumping here and jumping all over the place. Some of them going on like they don't know how St. Kitts politics be. Douglas do good, bad, and the ugly. And he still have people out there saying they want him to be the leader. You understand? So people need to just relax because poverty, like I said already, corruption, who going to get rid of it? Not one of them could hold a candle over the Prime Minister head, like he say. Nah, none of them could hold none over my head neither. I got a lot of them to cuss, but I just waiting, that is. Because I voted in Tam from 1980. First time I voted was 1980. And I never miss an election till last year. And I don't vote for want. I want for my country and my party. Whether I get or not, I still strong behind my party. That is how I be. I don't watch nobody what I get, and I don't jealous nobody. Okay? And that's me. I don't vote for want. I vote for my country and my party of my choice, and nobody going to stop me, party. And I'm going. I got a story to tell you now. I got a story to tell you about the land total and the sea total. Me is a sea total. Right? But when I come up on land, they're going to tell me, go back to the ocean because I can't live on land. Because when I come to help them, they get what they want, but nothing for me. So I'm the sea turtle. So I'm going to find my way back to the ocean. That is, have a safe night, Nigeria. Bye.
Have a good night, my dear. Under the team unity, or the form of government, I should say, the Integrity in Public Life legislation was approved in Parliament in 2013. It took the Team Unity administration to get that piece of legislation out of what seemed to be legislative coma. And it was the TUNT administration in 2018 who ensured that it operationalized firstly the Integrity in Public Life Commission, held its first press conference in December last year, ironically on the International Anti-Corruption Day. And the chairperson of the Integrity in Public Life Commission, Justice Pauletta Lance, told the nation about the composition of the commission. This is what she said.
Integrity Commission was established under Section 11 of the Integrity in Public Life Act, which entered into force in 2018. It is a 3-member commission comprising yours truly as chairperson, Mrs. Carol Boddy, public chartered accountant, and Mr. Dennis Knight, consultant and court-connected mediator. The Commission's management team comprised Mr. Albert Edwards, the former Director of Audit, who is the CEO, and Ms. Virginia Brown as the Office Administrator and Secretary to the Commission. Our offices are located upstairs the Lane and Company building on Liverpool Row in Bastille.
So go find them at Liverpool Row. It's been operationalized, and you make your complaints.
Section 18C of the Integrity in Public Life Act. The Commission is assigned the function of conducting an investigation into any allegation of bribery or of corruption referred to it by any person. In addition, the Commission is granted by the Act substantial powers of prevention, detection, and punishment of corruption.
Okay. It has the powers of prevention, detection, and at 9 before 10 o'clock, as we wind down and take a few more calls. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live.
Good night, me.
Yes, caller.
Good night, my turn.
Yes, your turn.
Yes, I hear so long waiting. Your topic.
Thank you for holding.
Your topic about corruption. John James so right. How they're not saying about the 20 years corruption. Mr. Liburd, my goddaughter buried today. It was a lovely service. Every day I speak to her up till Friday night. When I get the news Saturday, she dead. That to show us anytime and anybody. I am calling on all the supervisors and boss, not because the workers come meet them there. They put the government there, not them. Stop push around people. They used to send her all over to work because it's you put her there. Up till now, no minister's looking into nothing. I want to thank you for what you have done for her. And Sheldon, don't forget Buller. Your name we'd always call. Who do that? Patches, all of them set you up. The sabotagers there is. Why they better stop. It's everybody not going to take what they're doing. They did not put the government there and have 2 and 3 jobs. How they feel. Good night.
Okay, let's go back to the line. We seem to have lost that caller.
Yes. Good evening again, Patches.
Creeping down.
Yes. Good evening again, Patches Liburd.
Yes, good evening.
Honorable. Now, you live in the United States practically now, right? In the United States, from a police to a senator, a congressman, a judge, and those people, they monitor them good. How they monitor them? You can't be working for $1,200 a month, got a car, cost 150,000, and your mortgage is another 25,000, and you're only getting peanuts. How are you paying for these things? There is where the government step in on you and charge you with corruptions and different things like that. Now, you play a clip there with Miss Lance and them. Miss Lance and she colleagues and them need to back check some of them from police, politicians, all of them, see what money they're working for and what money they're banking and what money they're paying out for rent and different things. I mean, talking about when they're paying the ladies them for the extra service. You understand me? These are the things you caught them. But when you catch them, you ask them to resign and them kind of thing. You don't carry them to court. But a poor man, they take to court and drag him through the mud. You see? So there is where some politician could go and ain't about nothing, ain't see nothing, nobody tell them about nothing, but money doing a project what ain't belongs to them that said they don't know nothing about it. You understand me? So these are where the corruption, and some of them still want to come and be our leaders. They want to be our leaders. And some of the people who involved in it, talking who going to be the next prime minister, who going to be the next this, and all of that. And they know what they're doing is wrong. You understand me? And they get a pat on the shoulder. The young man said it before. They criticize some and they praise of some. But corruption is corruption, and corruption could stop. Nobody talking about it can't stop, it could stop. Soon as you start to jail some of them, you see how quick the corruption stop. Nobody gonna leave a job where you could make millions of dollars, go get a salary such and such, and tomorrow you got 4.67 houses. You understand me? And big cars and big this and that. Where have you come by them? What money said the bank gonna lend you when you ain't got nothing? What is your collateral? Because you're in a government job, that's your collateral, where you could be there for the next 5 years and then you lose your seat. You know, these are the things. So don't let nobody fool you that it can't stop. It could stop. But it's just people is not care to do nothing about it. They only care to punish the poor man and victimize the poor people and them. You understand me? So that's it. That's how we go here in St. Kitts. That's how we operate here. We sabotage the poor and give to the rich freely, wealthy. You going to a show in Warner's Park, a carnival village or what it is. They call the rich man, them give them free tickets, and the poor man, them line up all the way down by any Emery Bakery to get in the park and the paying. But them others just walking in and they got millions of dollars. You understand me? Some of them company again, they bring in a new phone. Instead of this, say, well, look, let me donate one to this poor person in Deathbed, or this poor person in Newton Ground, or something. No. They give them to people who could buy 1,000,001 forms. You understand me? That is how they operate, you know. But the lucky thinking people are thinking different. They don't steal much and they don't rob much like before. Thanks to the Prime Minister to giving them work and all kind of thing. Because this country has gone to the dogs if you never had the work program for them and try to help them young men to go out and establish their own business. And then people walking and talking about he paying people for crime. Pay people for what crime? He walked the walk in. He helped them to get a job. He helped them to get money so they could buy things and rent and sell and set up their own business. This Prime Minister is the best God ever put, and he ain't going nowhere. So all of them who waiting and think they're going to push him aside, he got news for them. You understand me? He got news. He's the man, he don't argue, you know. He don't argue. But sometimes when you get him fired up, you let him out. You understand me? But otherwise than that, it's the best thing ever happened to Chinchit. The same unity party, what they're trying to disturb and break up right now. You understand me? Whether knowledge, whether common sense, whether education. You understand me? You know, some of them put people in position and allow them to do as they like. Victimize people for no reason at all. And figure that's the right thing to do. You understand me? But God ain't like ugly, and he ain't care much or pretty. And when you're digging a hole, dig too. You understand me? So God bless all of them. Yeah. Hello?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, the People's King. I'm going to take 2 more calls if you will be guided by brevity. When I say brevity, I mean 30 seconds. Caller, can you take 30 seconds? Can you use it?
Yes, Ambassador Liburd, I can. I just don't finish drinking the water and me ain't gonna sit down yet, so let me make it quick. I think there's a saying that goes, for corruption and evil to thrive anywhere, it's for when good men do not speak or call it out. I don't know if you're familiar with that phrase. Minister Liburd, Ambassador Liburd, I am cynical most times, but I'm optimistic that we can reach to a point that we have little or no corruption if the people do not accept it. The government is comprised of the people, and if the people do not sign off on it, it cannot happen. Saying, oh, we can't stop it, that's a defeatist mentality, and that's why we can't do no better in the Federation. I believe in the unity idea, and I will talk out if I see things are not going right in my opinion, and I will give kudos where kudos are deserved. I'm sure you've heard me come on many occasions and give kudos to the government. So if I have issues now, I think I should be able to speak on them, because when I signed up to be in the Defense Force, to put my body on the line and take a bullet for St. Christopher and Nevis if I have to, nobody else was around here to help me sign it. And I did my duty dutifully under Denzel Douglas, even though I did not appreciate what he was doing. But when I signed, I had to salute him. That was my duty. And I'm duty bound, not because I'm not wearing the uniform anymore. I'm a patriot to the end, and I will defend my country. I'm an independent thinker. I have no allegiance to no party. So I'm all about policies, not personalities. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. That's what democracy is all about. I'll make this my final call. Caller, can you use 30 seconds? 30 seconds.
Yes, good evening to everybody out there in Radio Land, and good evening, servant. Ambassador Ian Patches Liburd, to see that you're stirring it up. I need not ask how you're doing. And in stirring it up, I just said to myself, so what? Birds fly. Fishes swim. What's the big deal? I just want to say, because time is of the essence, that as children, we had a rhyme that has contemporary significance. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good comes better and your better best. As such, I submit to you that good can easily become the enemy of better if we rest on our laurels, and better can become the enemy of the best if judged by the same yardstick. Now I have 2 questions to ask you very quickly, please. But 3. Number 1, is this the best we can do under the circumstances? Think about it for a sec, right? That's one question I want you to answer before you leave. Now, secondly, will we as a society ever be free of corruption? I said you know what? I thought about that. And I should be encouraged, but it won't be by laws. Because, you know, laws won't correct this aberration. Why? Because, you know, good men won't need them. You're a good man. And bad men will not be changed by them. So I say, woe unto them that call light darkness and darkness light, and put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. My second question, and finally, thank you so much for the astronomicals you made with your portfolio as a minister. Now, could any major project under your portfolio happen without you having knowledge of it? One. And number two, if this in fact happened, I'm not mincing words, should it be encouraged or vocally and publicly denounced? Finally, I just want to say that the conquest of the party I love so much will not come from without, but from within, and it has already begun. And when it culminates, great will be the fall of my once beloved party. Good evening, folks.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And that's the way we're going to end it tonight, because my time is done and I've got to run. I don't want to conclude without answering your questions from my dear friend and brother Enver. And I believe that we are friends and brothers for life. I love you, I would confess. But I want to deal with your last question first, because a lot of people would say many things, even when I was serving in the capacity of a minister. And they call me all sorts of things. But truth be told, the answer is no. You must have knowledge, because you have a constitutional authority to, as a minister of government, you are charged with the responsibility for any department of the government that falls under your portfolio. And you shall exercise general direction and control over that department. There's only one proviso. The department is subject to the supervision, or should have under its supervision, or should be under, I should say, the supervision of a permanent secretary. So, as a minister, that department is subject to such direction and control of the minister. So I hope I answered the question. No, that could never happen. The minister has to know, ought to know, and he or she has a constitutional duty. Is it the best we can do? There's always room for improvement. And as I say, as I wind down my Straight Dog family, I say this. I say that under the Team Unity administration, things have improved. And as my dear brother from Jamaica mentioned pretty early, I remember this, we cannot think in a utopic manner. But there's ideally no perfect place And that's the view that seemed to have come from many callers tonight. When I asked the questions, can we ever establish a society free from corruption? Can we ever ensure honesty and integrity in public officials? Do we think we can have a world and a St. Nevis without corruption? What I want to leave you with, my straight up family, is that if there is a time for the country to unite, it is now. A time to move forward beyond partisan division and move forward as one federation. We need governance and transparency if we are going to build trust, public trust that is, between those who govern and those who are governed. And if there are problems, then let us find solutions. Instead of complaining, let us engage each other constructively with a view towards enhancing St. Kitts and Nevis as a model country that others can emulate. And as I mentioned earlier, the United Nations offer a unique vantage point from which to view developments in public administrations around the globe. The United Nations Convention Against Corruption is the only legally binding universal anti-corruption instrument. The Convention's far-reaching approach and the mandatory character of many of its provisions make it unique, or rather a unique tool for developing a comprehensive response to a global problem. The vast majority of United Nations member states are parties to that convention. And Team Unity must be commended for operationalizing the Integrity in Public Life Commission, which held its first press conference in December last year on the International Anti-Corruption Day. And the commission is comprised as follows, for those of you who missed it.
The Integrity Commission was established under Section 11 of the Integrity in Public Life Act, which entered into force in 2018. It is a 3-member commission comprising yours truly as chairperson, Mrs. Carol Boddy, public chartered accountant, and Mr. Dennis Knight, consultant and court-connected mediator. The Commission's management team comprised Mr. Albert Edwards, the former Director of Audit, who is the CEO, and Ms. Virginia Brown as the Office Administrator and the Secretary to the Commission. Our offices are located upstairs the Lil Walwyn and Company building on Liverpool Road in Bastille.
So, we have taken steps in the right direction, and that's good. You say kudos to Prime Minister Harris and his entire cabinet. But my Sherlock family, my time is done. I gotta run and make way for the Mayor of St. Paul's, Theophilus Clark, as he comes in right after with his oldie goldies. He has the vinyls, where he gets them from and keeps them in such good shape, I don't know. Well, let me thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, let's thank all you who called, those who couldn't get in, those who sent emails, and I forgot my emails, forgive me, I'll get them next time around. But remember, all of you, the callers, the listeners, and many of you who listen, and those on social media, Facebook and YouTube, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. Be good to yourself. And remember, whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you've got to believe. Have yourself a wonderful weekend, my sweet family. Until we connect on Monday, have yourself a good time. Bye-bye. Keep moving on.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning.